Federal prosecutors say a West Seneca postal worker could have interfered with the election by stealing absentee ballots and other mail. He's now charged with delay or destruction of mail. 7 Eyewitness News reporter Hannah Bueller shows us what led to the arrest and what authorities say they found in the man's car.
It was 7:30 p.m. on election night when Customs and Border Protection officers say they stopped a U.S. postal worker near the Peace Bridge after getting off the 190 at the wrong exit. Customs and Border Protection officers did a sweep of his personal car. It was there investigators say they opened the trunk of Brandon Wilson's vehicle and found a postal carrier box with 3 absentee ballots sent to 2 Buffalo addresses from the Erie County Board of Elections, 106 political mailings, 220 first-class mailings, and 484 standard mailings. That's a total of 813 mail pieces that prosecutors say did not belong to Wilson. The first-class letter mailings were supposed to go to zip codes in the Buffalo-Cheektowaga border, with the majority going to 14215. In the criminal complaint, prosecutors say Wilson, who is from West Seneca, initially told officers the mailings were for him and his mother, but then said in September he estimated he placed mail from his delivery routes into his personal vehicle trunk on more than 4 occasions. Wilson said he intended to decrease the amount of mail in the trunk of his vehicle by placing a small amount into USPS missort containers in the morning before his shift began. But federal prosecutors say he hadn't placed any mail in the missort containers for 3 weeks. U.S. Attorney J.P. Kennedy says this office is committed not only to ensuring the integrity of the mails, but also individuals' right to vote in a free and fair election. The criminal conduct with which this defendant is alleged to have engaged undermine both of those interests. And the U.S. Postal Service tells me Wilson has been placed on emergency placement, which means he is out of work and has no access to the mail. This is pending the outcome of this criminal investigation. If convicted on the charges, he could spend 5 years in prison. Reporting in West Seneca, Hannah Bueller, 7 Eyewitness News.
Concern over mail during this election season, this story may hit a nerve. Mail-in ballots that were until today just sitting in trash, along with a wedding announcement, a last will and testament, and other important documents.
Channel 2 investigator Robert Arnold is solving the mystery tonight by tracking down how that mail got into that dumpster. Robert?
Well, that's the $64,000 question U.S. postal inspectors are working on now. We do know the mail was not stolen here. It was tossed in that dumpster. As for who did it, one big clue was captured by complex security cameras. It's 3:29 a.m. and you're watching 2 men, faces covered, dumping 2 large boxes of mail in a dumpster at the Willow Run townhomes on Perry Road near Winfern. Later in the morning, a resident noticed the dumped mail and alerted complex management.
I was wondering, what is this? You know, where did it come from? Who did this?
John Lester got everything out of the dumpster and into the complex's office while they waited for postal inspectors.
All of it was opened and dumped.
Here's a rundown of what was tossed in the trash.
This here was last will and testament for a child. When we seen it was a bunch of personal information. There's a bunch of legal documents in there, voter ballots, there's wedding announcements.
You heard that last part right. We saw 1 absentee ballot, a vote for President Donald Trump, bound for Baton Rouge. Another was heading to California.
It's very concerning.
When a postal employee arrived to collect the mail,
This raw mail. This raw mail.
Raw mail means it hadn't been processed yet. See, no postmarks. None of this mail was stolen here. The Postal Service reports at least some of the mail was stolen from the drop-off boxes at the post office on West 19th, a good 12 miles away. That may not be the only place that was hit, though.
This was just sent yesterday.
An employee of the Guest law firm told us these documents were left at the post office on Timmons near Lakewood Church.
That's what's so shocking. That where the post office is located and it's found way over here.
And that brings us back to this video. You can't see a license plate, but here's a better look at the car. And the 2 men are clearly dumping the mail. U.S. postal inspectors are leading this investigation, including making sure those 2 ballots reach proper destinations. We're going to have information on how to check if your mail was among this mail that was stolen and dumped in the dumpster, along with another look at that surveillance video on the homepage of click2houston.com. Reporting live from Northwest Harris County, Robert Arnold, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Yep, it strikes a nerve.
So explain one more time.
So the people that were in front of me, there were two people in front of me that used a Sharpie.
Yes.
That was given to them by the poll workers.
Yes.
It did not read their ballot.
Okay.
And they slid it in there twice. I used a pen.
Yep.
Took their Sharpie and threw it away.
And it read your ballot.
And it read my ballot.
And it read your ballot.
And it read my
So
ballot.
what they're doing is they're telling people to use the Sharpies. That way,
Yes.
those votes aren't counted.
Yes.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yes.
So there was other people that were in there voting with their pens, and they literally went around and they were yanking pens out of their hands.
Yes, they tried to do that to me, and I took their Sharpie and I hid it because then they said, look for all the Sharpies that are not being used and take the Sharpies back. They had a bowl of pens behind them that they were not giving to people and only giving Sharpies out.
There we go. So the ones with the Sharpies are not being read at all.
No.
No. None of those ballots are being read.
Of course not.
So that's and so they're doing it because they're trying to skew all of the votes in
Yeah,
there.
and they
That's
didn't,
exactly
and they
what's
didn't
going
try
on.
to even slide it more than one time. They immediately took it and slid it in the front, like not even tried a second time. They just
That's correct.
ran it through and slid it in the front, and I was like, wait a
That's what they
second.
did with yours?
Yep, and I just went with a Sharpie and voted Trump, and she just slid it in, and that was it. But
But they're not counting. They're not counting the ones with the Sharpies. And so they're forcing people to use the Sharpies, and those votes aren't being counted.
Right.
That's what's going on.
Right. And then I posted it on my Facebook group chat in my neighborhood. They said they did it at the Queen Creek Library. They did it at ASU Polytech earlier. That like 4 different polling places were doing Sharpies, all in like between Queen Creek and like the edge of Gilbert.
Yep. And those ones are not being counted.
Yes.
They're invalid.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
like I have proof.
So they're invalidating votes is what they're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I
That's how
I
it
took a
feels like.
picture of
Okay.
my ballot for
And then
Trump.
there was a guy that directly came out and yelled at me 3 times. They both came out.
Oh no, they called the sheriffs
You guys
and said
stop.
that and told us to stop handing out the ballpoint pens, in which case those are the only ones that are actually being
Yeah,
counted and validated.
I used your pen and then I
Yeah.
sent it back to you and I
And
said,
they're-
give this to somebody. 'cause it
Yes, yes. And so we know that, and we've been telling them you need to use a ballpoint pen, not the Sharpie, and now those are getting invalidated.
works. Yeah.
So people are coming here to vote for Donald Trump, and those votes are all getting invalidated. That's what's going on. There we go. That's all we need. Perfect.
She doesn't think that's what you
Welcome to the new America, people. That's what's going on.
Well, that is what.
I am coming to you live from the TCF Center in Detroit, where there's a huge challenge to the ballots that arrived overnight in the city of Detroit in Wayne County. And we have hundreds of people chanting to stop the count. I've been told that President Trump, it's getting louder, President Trump has filed for a lawsuit to stop the count. Here's what's going on in Detroit. I left the GOP office to make photocopies. When we arrived back to TCF Center, we were stopped by security. I was in an elevator and security wouldn't let the elevator go. And, you know, I just prayed really quick and asked the Lord for some help. And I'm like, sir, Mr. Security Guard, sir, what's the holdup? And I called our the office, the GOP office. We have some attorneys, and the attorney said, you let them know that you're on GOP business, that you've got copies that we need to do the job of challenging the poll. And this person called their supervisor. I was able to get up, but there are literally 1,000 people that are poll challengers and poll watchers that have not been allowed in the building. The security guard told me that it was the general manager for the building for TCF, who I happened to track down, and he said, no, it's not the building. It's the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services has called Governor Whitmer has called on the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to come down and shut down the ability for us to be able to challenge these ballots in the city of Detroit. People that have been in this business doing poll challenging for 20 years, you can see over here, this is where it's all going on, have never seen anything like this. The level of the Democratic challengers, the level of harassment is unbelievable. It's divisive, it's ugly, swearing and intimidation is all part of it. You guys, I don't even have words, so if you pray, now's a really good time. Now's a really good time to pray. So they're just chanting, stop the count, stop the count. And we're hoping that they do. I'm going to turn this around and see if I can zoom in for you guys. So you can see under there. I'll see if I can get a better view. Turn it back to me. So if you're a challenger and you leave the room to go to the bathroom, they're not allowing you to come back in. They sent the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to remove only those from the Republican Party. So we do not have equal representation. Apparently the commission, the voters commission, what is it? I'm trying to remember the right term, has been on site and they aren't doing anything. They're not interceding. We do also know that we had challengers that were actually in saying, I want to challenge that particular ballot. And the people that are in charge of the specific precinct for that ballot challenge were non-responsive. Again, we have people here that have been poll challengers for decades. And what's going on here is crazy. It's crazy. I'm going to turn it around again so you can see what's going on. So I'm live at the TCF Center in Detroit, Michigan. And it is absolutely our hope that they stop the count, because it is not, it's not being handled correctly. It's not being handled legally. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is locking people out of the building, saying that the building is at capacity. You guys, this is a 40,000 square foot building. I'm standing alone in an area of the building. This building is not at capacity. These are the people that are outside that are being locked out, with the exception of media. Media is being allowed in, which is just crazy. So again, if you are a praying person, pray big. This is a type of history in the making that I never thought I'd see. Stop the vote.
A certain letter of the alphabet, wink wink, website, Intel Insider, wink wink, already told us a while back the game plan for the dirty Democrats. Penny Kelly told you what she saw. She's been quite accurate. That mainstream news would just be telling us all night long about how Biden won, basically. He's going to win, he's winning, blah, blah, blah. They're going to just keep running with him winning no matter what. I saw that right away as I was watching last night and throughout the late hours. Woke up at like 4 a.m. Ian's woke up here too. So I went and fed him, checked the phone, see, oh, Trump was way up, I think, in Michigan or Wisconsin or somewhere, and all of a sudden, some mail-in ballots came in, and oh, Sleepy Joe's now tipping the table. Oh, boy. This stuff is going to aggravate you when you hear it, because you know it's being stolen from you. You know they're lying, cheating, and stealing, trying to get this out of a win from Donald Trump. There is a post from that certain letter of the alphabet thing. Okay? Source. That said, we have military inserts inside that whole corruption vote scam machine. They have people on the inside. And it mentioned bribes and everything else, okay? They're letting you know Trump easily won. He easily won. They're stealing it. The Dems are stealing it. And they're going to be exposed. And it's not just going to be Donald Trump coming out saying, oh, the Dems stole it, they're stealing it, and then we're supposed to just believe them. First, I'll say to you, has Donald Trump made a claim in the last 4 years, absurd as they might have been when he said them, that have not come to be true? Everything out of his mouth, at some point or another, becomes truth. We finally see the evidence or whatever it was he was talking about and say, oh my God, he was right. Oh my God, they did spy on his campaign. Oh my God, they did try to overthrow him with this fake dossier Russia crap. Oh my God, they did change the 302 on General Flynn. Oh my God, the one guy, Kevin Kleinsmith, FBI. Oh my God, he did alter an email that was critical. Oh my God, they had exonerating evidence. Nope. He said all these things. And no one believed, none of the on the left believed him. And then we finally figure out with the evidence, D-class, everything else, court cases unsealed, oh, he was right. So when he tells you the dirty Dems are going to steal and try to steal this election, how they're going to do it, he's letting you know in advance. We already know about it, and we're going to deal with it. Okay? That certain letter of the alphabet has already told us. We knew this was coming. We had inserted people from the military to assist the dirty Dems, like an undercover sting operation, essentially. Because that happened, you could be rest assured, like Project Veritas, you're not just going to have to wait and listen for someone to say, yeah, that's what happened. There's going to be video, audio, you name it, evidence. And if you're the dirty Dems, and you know the type of crimes they've committed, voter fraud is the least worst crime compared to what they've been doing. So it would be easy to go ahead and do that and say, well, if we get caught, who cares? Look at what they're really going to go after us for. We have nothing to lose. So we're going to go for this. There's 6 states, I think, right now Trump was up in, all run by Democrats, all have a call to top, as Biden would say, for the day. We're not going to publish any more counting. We're not publishing anything. Blah, blah, blah. Completely abnormal. Count the votes. Let us know. Let us see the numbers. No. Nah, we don't need to show you right now. We're just going to do it behind closed doors, essentially, and then later on we're going to give the numbers out. Oh, you mean like later on when you count the blank ballots that come through that were filled out by your criminal friends. But certain letter of the alphabet says, not so fast. We knew what they're doing. We have military inserts. We're going to show the world the corruption. Looking at the numbers of win, percentage that Trump wins and Biden, all of a sudden Biden's winning in some of these states, and you look back at the rallies, where 5 people show up for Biden. Oh, there's 3 over there. 50,000, 80,000 over there for Trump. Everywhere he goes and everywhere Biden goes, that was the story. Do you really think the numbers we saw last night and this morning are like really legit? Again, my eyes can see when someone's standing around somebody, the support someone gets. And so can yours. And no matter where Trump went, no matter where, massive turnout. And no matter where Sleepy Joe went, unbelievably small turnout. Ridiculous. It is known about. It will be dealt with. Don't get upset about it. Again, watch the show. General Flynn had made a comment on Twitter. A little stealth comment. Stand fast, digital soldiers. Basically, we got this. Wink, wink. They're going to be exposed, so don't be all pissed off, going home, yelling at your wife or whatever. Just relax. Take a deep breath. And all the liberals around you who are thinking they're winning right now, let them relish in their little nonsensical moment. Because when the evidence comes out, you're going to be able to go to them and say, dude, what the hell is this about? You guys are cheaters? Your whole party is cheaters? Wow. You can go ahead and bust their balls on that if you want. So don't get mad. Watch over the coming days, because this is not going to be over in the next few days. This is going to drag on. And then we got to have the evidence come out. Trump's going to have to do something about it through the DOJ. But again, they told us we had to show the people. We can't just say it. We have to show the people. And they showed us Hunter Biden. They showed us Joe Biden. They showed us Hillary Clinton. They showed us the emails of everybody. That's now fact. We have declassified documents. They showed us that. This is show and tell like in school days, kids. It is show and tell time. And the biggest show and tell is this little kid named Trump. And he's got something really interesting to show you about the voter fraud. Okay? So just relax. Take it easy. And just, stay tuned.
But Dr. Steve Pieczenik, as we're in the middle of this, the election's over. We're now in the stealing process of the election. What are you seeing? What's going through your mind as you're witnessing this gigantic hoax?
Let me just say again what I said in 2016. There are honorable members of our intelligence, military, and civilian community in the government who understood exactly how corrupt Biden and the Democratic machinery was, and will be. This is really a sting operation. Contrary to what everybody else said, Trump knew this was happening. Eric knew this was happening and warned the public. I knew this was happening. However, I could not say anything about it. What happened was we watermarked every ballot with what's called the QFS blockchain encryption code. In other words, we know pretty well where every ballot is, where it went, and who has it. So this is not a stolen election. On the contrary, we reversed the entire game of war along the lines of Sun Tzu, the art of war. And Trump was brilliant and still is brilliant at it. The reason he hasn't been seen, and Alex correctly said, I haven't seen him in several days. Well, in the art of the war, you pull back, allow your enemy to make all the mistakes that they are making, manipulate the situation, expose them, and then come in for the final killing. And that's what's happening now. None of this was unexpected. All of this was expected. All of this is part of the sting operation we're running. And let me tell you that 48 hours ago, not only did we put markers on those ballots, but I can say now, with the permission of people in the intelligence community and elsewhere, that we have sent out thousands and thousands of National Guards to 12 different states, Washington, Delaware, Texas, Arizona, Alabama, and everywhere. So now you have to consider and rethink what this is really about. The genius of Trump is that he is able to pull back at any point and manipulate the opponent without the opponent ever realizing. He has said repeatedly, hashtag steal the vote. That's exactly what he has said for months. Then he made a very clear implication. He said, I will use common sense or my intelligence, i.e. both literal and figurative intelligence. And those of us in the intelligence community, be it who they are, again, what I said in 2016, when we exposed Hillary Clinton, we now exposed, and it was Trump who initiated this, Biden family. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Jim Biden, Frank, the whole family was played right into a game where they were convicted, and you're seeing what's happening now. What was not announced was that we watermarked all the ballots with what I said QFS blockchain, which is a very hard encryption code to break. And the second thing is we sent, probably 20,000 or more National Guards 48 hours ago. None of it was reported, and I thank the press for not reporting it and others. So what in fact is happening is you're seeing a sophisticated sting operation that was initiated by Trump. I'm just a lowly peasant in this game, and honestly, I was informed that I could say something about it today, only last night. That's why I could not come on.
Well,
This is the reverse of what you guys have been thinking. It's not a civil war. We have not been surprised in any way. This has been set up by Trump for a long, long time. In the same way that we knew about Hillary Clinton, I warned about the coup that we would do a counter coup, and this is our counter coup again against the Bidens. And that's exactly what we expected. The corruption in the mail, the corruption of USPS, corruption with the Democrats, everywhere and anywhere. There was no surprise here. And that's why we deployed National Guard soldiers to 12 different states. Nothing was said about it.
Steve, you've just broken certainly perhaps the biggest news since the election here on this show. Are arrests inevitably coming down the road?
Yeah. They're coming not just down the road, they're being implemented. What you saw Corey Wendowski and Pam Biondi saying when they were in Clay County and as well in Philadelphia, that was not just a threat. That was exactly what's going to happen. People will be arrested as of tonight, tomorrow, and it will go on for quite a while. And this was a total sting operation that I can say.
So explain
anybody else. I have the permission to say it. I do not deal with classified information, as you know. I do not work for our government, but because I'm loyal to the Republic, and I work with a lot of people who are loyal to this Republic, including the 16 intelligence services, the Secret Service, our civilian service, they've all been great, and they've kept it quiet. And I've been given the permission to say what I just said. I have nothing more to say, but this is not a surprise here. This is the biggest sting operation probably in our country that we've ever had.
So how is this watermark on the ballots? What is the significance of that as to, is it going to stop from fake ballots being counted, or how is that going to be used?
Well, we use it in any way that we need to use it in terms of counting, knowing which ones were fake, which ones were not. It's a very sophisticated code. So if you just throw them away, these are cyber communication implementations that we have the code for. We know exactly what was thrown away. We know exactly what was placed. We know exactly who has it, and we know exactly where it went. I can't go any further than that.